7% for the last 17 or 18 years. And this has indeed led to tremendous improvement in the way people live all over the country, including in the villages.
In a 1995 interview, the fourth king said, "Democracy only works in a society which is highly literate, politically very conscious, and enjoys a high level of economic well-being and prosperity." To prepare the country for democracy and the global economy, the Bhutanese government established a nationwide education system with English as the primary language of learning. Establishing schools in even the most remote villages over a week's walk from the closest road, rural education in Bhutan is a model for South Asia.
People out here in Bhutan are very fortunate to have free education. They are provided with like community schools, like in remote areas. The students are provided with free books, pencils, and free education. Like they doesn't have to pay for the foodings and all the things. The government provides them all. Teachers tell them that you must not take for granted when the government provides free education for you all. So keeping in this mind, the students are studying harder to fulfill their aims and to have better life ahead.
World AIDS Day in Laya, a district along the Tibetan frontier, is one of the most remote communities in Bhutan. While AIDS rages out of control in China and India, just across Bhutan's border, on this day each year, led by Queen Sangye Chodon Wonchuk, government health workers give lessons on birth control and the prevention of venereal disease in every town and village in the kingdom. When this program first began, many villagers refused to use any means of birth control or disease prevention, fearing that these practices might go against the teachings of their faith. The government responded by sending out teams of learned and highly respected monks to teach the villagers the distinction between taking life and preventing an unwanted pregnancy, and to explain the merits of avoiding the suffering and death that disease brings. The government now distributes free condoms to all the villages across the country through rural clinics and community hospitals. Hydropower sales to India have given Bhutan the income to provide free medical care and education, to train thousands of teachers and rural health workers, and to build well-supplied clinics, schools, hospitals throughout the nation.
Well, hydroelectricity has become very important for our economy today. It brings a lot of revenue to the government. It has also enabled many other economic activities and industries to come up in Bhutan.
Revenues from hydropower constitute about 35 to 40% of the government's budget, the government's revenues. So it is a huge chunk. Recent studies have shown that we have a total potential of about 24,000 megawatts which we can harness. And we have today about 460 megawatts of installed capacity. So basically less than 2% of our total hydropower potential has been harnessed. So the scope for development is very, very big.
There's a huge market just next door in India, and we have now come up with a kind of a power master plan to make use of this natural resource. This power is generated from the so-called run-of-the-river streams, where we build a small dam only to divert the water, not to store it. So there is no large backflow of water to displace people, etc. Most of these projects are based in very narrow gorges where nobody really lives, there is no agricultural land, etc. So the impact on the environment as a result of establishing large power projects in Bhutan is really very minimal. And our whole principle of conserving the natural environment fits in very well with this. If you have a good environment, you have good stable flow of water, which is again very good for power generation. And if you have a lot of power generation, a lot of revenues, then we have less pressure on the forest. We are able to mobilize resources which help the farmers, people who live upstream of the river valleys.
Once you have electricity, cable television follows very shortly thereafter, and you do have an impact on the culture. People who have never seen any kinds of motion pictures before, and suddenly you're exposed to this cacophony of sounds and pictures. You understand the world through certain lens that you've been brought up with. I think it is quite confusing. The only way I can see that we can address this issue is through education.
I mean, basically, we started with one channel, one TV channel in Bhutan, and within 6 months we opened up to the world. We had 45 channels. You know, we were totally swamped 24 hours a day, and that continues to be a challenge that we're grappling with. You know, how do we balance this flow of information? You know, it's all coming in from outside.
We have not had the time to build up the awareness, the institutions, and the understanding of the impact of television. One very stark example is that in Bhutan, the concept interpretation of a beautiful woman, someone who has stability in the home, someone who works even outdoors, someone reliable, and that's what people are saying, that is a good woman. Now we've had a few years of advertising, and the ads basically emphasize the hourglass figure, and the slim woman, the well-dressed woman, the makeup, and suddenly this beautiful traditional Bhutanese woman feels ugly.
Our children are reading less. Okay, people have less time for reading, and of course it's affected schoolwork, homework. We've adjusted our lifestyles around the television set, you know, and in a very small way, and this is something we have to watch out for, is that it is fueling consumerism.
I think the TV is very it's very bad. Once you have a TV and they always just turn on and watch the TV and they just don't talk to each other.
I work for television, and I must say that often I'm being accused of being a part of the destroying force of the Bhutanese culture and the traditions. Personally, I'm optimistic by nature, and I have confidence in my culture. Bhutan cannot stay in a self-imposed isolation that it did till the 1960s. It has to open up its economy. It has to modernize. We have to benefit from modern science and technology. You know, not everything from the West is evil. No, there are good things.
Hydroelectricity is one of the most important resources in the country. Most of Bhutan's hydro plants are built underground, out of sight, without damaging the environment. When we tunnel into the mountains and disturb the spirits that live underground, we perform ceremonies and ask for their pardon. Whenever we are cutting into hard broken rock and encounter groundwater and it becomes difficult to tunnel, we remember nature, and the lamas offer prayers to the spirits of the earth. We take water through tunnels which you don't see, and that's all underground. We house our turbines in chambers deep in the earth where we generate electricity and send the water through tunnels back out to the river.
I think we recognize the very strong relationship between the hydropower, the energy policies that we have, and the environment.
The environment should be looked after, it should be conserved, and we feel that the natural environment of Bhutan is an integral part of our life. In fact, it is the good environment that has sustained the Buddhist people for a very long time. It is also not only a source of our sustenance, but it is in many ways a source of our happiness also. We have a very beautiful environment, and it makes people feel good.